everyone, thank you for coming or for coming back. Today I'm going to show you how to make some very cute little slice and bake pumpkin sugar cookies. These are so adorable. They used to be so much fun to make the store-bought version, and I think you will like making the homemade version just as much, or maybe even just a little bit more. So all the ingredients and the measurements are listed down below, and we can start baking. So we are of course going to start by mixing up our sugar cookie dough. I am doing this in a stand mixer, but you can use a hand mixer. So into the bowl we're just going to go ahead and add our nice soft butter, as well as our brown sugar and a pinch of salt. I am using brown sugar here just to get me a slightly softer cookie with a little bit more of an interesting flavor than a standard sugar cookie. Now you're just going to go ahead and add the paddle attachment, and you're going to beat this until it is nice and light and fluffy, making sure to scrape everything off the sides of the bowl once or twice in the process. Once your butter and your sugar are nicely combined and very nice and aerated, you're going to go ahead and add your egg, as well as a nice splash of vanilla. Do make sure that you use a room temperature egg here and not one that is cold straight out of the fridge, or it'll separate a little bit easier, and we want it to combine nicely with our butter sugar mixture. Once that is all beaten together, we can add our last two ingredients, which is our flour and our baking powder. So we're just going to go ahead and add those in and then beat it once more until combined. You probably will have to scrape down the sides of the bowl once or twice again in this process, and then just beat until it is completely combined, and that is our sugar cookie dough come together already. This is so fast, so easy. Now that your dough is all ready, you're going to go ahead and pull that out of your bowl and divide it into two parts, about 1/3 for our orange pumpkin color and 2/3 for our white sort of background color for our cookie. Now we are going to color our simple little smaller ball with some food coloring. I just used some really basic primary colors, so I'm using a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow to make our orange color. Now these colors are going to be the pumpkin part of our cookie, but again, you can use any sort of different picture that you want to put in your cookie. The simpler the better. It is much more easy to do a super simple cookie that you can make the picture out of with just a few shapes. I went ahead and drew up this little reference for myself of a little pumpkin shape that I can use, but you could try and do something like a leaf or a ghost or something that is themed to the part of the year that you are in. I am of course going with our sort of fall, Halloween, late Thanksgiving sort of vibe, so I went with a cute little pumpkin. So once our orange color is all ready, we can go ahead and start shaping out our picture. Now to do this, I started by taking a good chunk of the white dough and just rolling it out into a nice flat rectangle that is going to encase pretty much all of our sugar cookie at the end, so that we have a nice little border around our pumpkin. Again, after this, it will sort of depend on what sort of shape you are trying to make. For my pumpkin, I decided that I needed 3 sort of strange shaped ovals, as well as one little curved rectangle. So I went ahead and divided up my orange into a few different logs, as well as one nice long strip of orange, so that I could start putting together my pumpkin shape. So to assemble my pumpkin, all I did was roll out a little bit of white, and then I placed one of my oval shaped pumpkin colored sugar cookie doughs on top of my piece of white, and then I went ahead and wrapped that on both sides with the white, and then I took a piece of orange and pressed it down to sort of round it out onto each side of the white. The last part I had to do was add the stem. I do think that I went a little thick with the border here, but I went ahead and I put some white sugar cookie in between before I added the orange piece with some little white logs on either side, just to help me curve around the orange pumpkin stem. I am just realizing that I also could have done a green pumpkin stem. That really might have made it a little more clear that I was doing a pumpkin, but no matter. I think that they are cute either way. Now the last thing you're going to do is just take your nice configured blobs of cookie, and you're going to go ahead and put that onto the nice white border that you rolled out earlier, and just going to encase that whole log in the white outside. So you're gonna have your pretty shape that is hidden away in these blobs of cookie dough, and you're just going to cover that with your white sugar cookie dough. Lastly, you're just going to roll it out so that you have a nice smooth log that you can then wrap up and throw in the fridge for at least an hour to chill. We do want our dough to be nice and chilled when we are ready to cut it so that we don't end up smushing our picture around. We want it to be nice and clear and easy to tell that it is a pretty little pumpkin. So once it is nice and chilled and firm, you're gonna go ahead and take it out and start slicing it. Now do keep in mind that if you don't want to use these right away, then your sugar cookie dough can be kept in the freezer. Just make sure you wrap it nice and tightly, put it in maybe a plastic bag, or wrap it with saran wrap, and you can keep it there for quite a while as long as it stays nice and frozen solid. So all you're going to do is take it out and cut it into about 1/4 inch slices, and then you can lay them out onto a parchment lined baking sheet to bake. Now another little way that you could go with this is you could roll your cookie in sprinkles. Now I decided that I was going to do this only with half my cookies, and I didn't decide until after I had frozen them, but if you know from the beginning, what I would suggest is that you roll this in the sprinkles while it is still soft and not while it is hard, so then it will easily stick to the sugar cookie dough. It was a little bit more difficult for me because my cookies were nice and frozen solid, so it was hard to get the sprinkles to stick. So what you would do is just add a little splash of water and then roll them in the sprinkles, and then it should stick nicely if it's before you have chilled your dough, but again it was after, so it was a little bit harder for me. But then you're just gonna go ahead and cut them out and put them on the baking sheet all the same. Now these cookies are going to go into the oven at 350 degrees, and you're just going to leave them in until they are nice and set at the sides. I don't like them to be like totally cooked through to the center. They will continue to cook a little bit on the cookie sheet after you take them out, and I do like a softer sugar cookie. So go ahead and pull your cookies out of the oven and leave them to cool completely on the baking tray. Once they are done, you can go ahead and move them to a plate, and these are your finished beautiful little slice and bake sugar cookies. I do think that the pumpkins turned out so adorable. I probably could have shaped them just a little bit better, but I think that they are cute nonetheless. So I hope you make these, I hope you enjoy, and I will see you next time.